the kitchen of intrigue, Curt Jackson and Kris McClelland are cooking up a batch of mystery soup.
Each episode serves a new blend of tips, tactics, trends, and tales from the business and design sides of the escape room world.
So grab your spoon, because this episode starts in 3, 2, 1.
Mystery Soup.
All right. Welcome back to Mystery Soup Podcasts. I am Curt, and as always, I am here with Chris. Amazing Chris. And
yes, let's do that. Let's go Amazing Chris from here on out.
I
think that is acceptable.
You like that? How are you doing this week, Chris?
Good. It's camp season, so it's chaos here. But
right.
I need a few more staff. Anybody need a job? Come on out to SBY camp here in southeastern Indiana.
You're gonna get so many applications now.
I'm sure.
So we're really excited to have our guest. Actually, you know what, Chris? I'm going to let you introduce our guest because really this is your neck of the woods.
It used to be.
Used to be
my neck of the woods,
yes.
I guess. It was closer. And we have another Chris. We had a Chris on a couple weeks ago. And so it just makes it even more confusing when we have the Chris's who we're talking to. But this is Kris McClelland. Am I saying it right?
Yep.
All right. And she's from the Peoria area. And Kris is part of the very first escape room I did ever. And then the first escape room Curt and I did together as well. But she's from Peoria area and has a couple of places there. We're going to talk about some exciting things. I think I've done all of them, except anything new you've made since I moved in Indiana. So there might be a couple new ones I've missed out on since moving here. But it's exciting to have you on. I good to see you again and have you here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, Kris, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hopefully I can do the Kris name honor.
Yeah, good luck. Right. Good luck. Yeah, that's right. I'm Amazing Chris now. That's right. Now that's how we'll keep it separate.
I'm just Chris.
No,
so
that's awesome.
I have lived in Peoria since 2000. So I didn't grow up here, but I moved here and I am married, have 6 children and 4 grandchildren now. So that's pretty exciting. I do have a degree in communications and theater, which is kind of unique to the escape room process or whatever, because I do have a little bit of background there that plays into this. And I've always loved doing puzzles and strategy games and that kind of thing. But I didn't do my first escape room until 2016 in Branson. So we started, I'm pretty sure the first one we started handcuffed in the dark. So that might have been the second one, but it was pretty intense.
Right.
But it made such an impression on us. We went back and did all their rooms. And I became really excited about it. Came home, told our daughter Jamie, who is also my game buddy. That was summer of 2016. In 2018, she was at a festival and she met Mike and Kylie Whittle, who are the owners of Escapetown Peoria. And soon after, we started working for them.
Nice.
So,
you don't have any live actors in your rooms, right?
We do not. I have experienced some with live actors, but
I was just wondering, because with your education of communication and theater, it would be something that would play right into that if you did.
Well, and one of our other, our head game room master, she has a degree in theater as well. And so when we did some Christmas stuff this year, we both did the voiceovers, like of the video. And so you get a little bit there, but I think there's a little bit of acting that can be done even as a game master. It's like kind of playing into the theme or whatever.
Although if I remember right, there is one game where game master acts like a monkey, right?
Yes,
there was. It's changed.
Yeah, now that was a 90-minute room at the time, and now we have switched that to a 60-minute room so that we could have our 6th room. So that part was taken out.
It terrified Carrie. She screamed when he opened the window. Like, it's not even supposed to be a scary moment. She screamed in the middle of it.
And you're supposed to give them the bananas. You have
right.
to give the monkey the bananas. Yep.
I remember that.
Not quite like in Montgomery. We just did Dr. Death where you have the live actor, and it was scaring the bejesus out of me. I was like, oh my goodness, it was so scary. I don't know if you've done that one, but
I don't do scary. I stay away.
yeah,
I'm out,
yeah,
like,
we don't do that at Escapetown.
No.
I know that a lot of people can get away with that, but I don't know.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
don't want.
that's so
I
fun.
want it to be an escape room. I don't want it to be a haunted house. So,
Oh.
But there's a lot of
that's
people
what-
that love that.
Yeah.
They're in search of the scary
Yeah.
horror rooms. Yeah.
Yes. Well, Escape
Oh.
from Storm Grove Mansion is one of our most booked rooms. They
Yeah.
love it.
Mhm.
Halloween comes around, you can't even find a place to book.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
people love it.
Love it. How many rooms have you done? Do you know by any chance?
I think I am over 120.
Wow.
I think I'm over
Nice.
120. I'm between 120 and 130. I probably ought to like do a better accounting of that. I had a list at one point, but I kind of lost track. When you do like a lot in one day, it just, if you don't record it right then, you really lose track of all the different rooms. But I've done
you
as many as 9 in a day.
9. That's
Yep.
crazy.
That's
So,
nuts.
Yeah.
yeah,
At the
it
end
was
of
nuts.
at the end of the day, your brain is just mush.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last one we were kind of like, we
Yeah.
didn't get
It's
out.
so
We didn't get out the last one.
When you were here in Florida, and we went
We
with
did those
Rowan with your
4.
son.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but it was so much driving too. We were
It's a lot
just
of
done.
driving.
We were done at the end.
We were crabby.
We were
By that
really
last
crabby.
room.
Yep.
Like, if we didn't, normally you go to a room and you're like, okay, this puzzle's not, you don't say anything. Man, we had to count soda cans in the beginning, and I'm like, this is stupid. I'm just saying it as loud as I can. This is stupid. Who came up with this puzzle? This is just dumb. I was just crabby and tired.
Well, and
should
I
know
won't
this.
tell you. I won't tell you where I was, but the one that we just did recently, the first thing you had to do was something so simple, but all 4 of us were people who've run games, and so none of us got it. None of us got that
Yep.
there were artificial flowers that you had to count, because
Oh.
that would be a game master's reset nightmare if that was the
Yeah.
puzzle. And so we didn't do it. And then we're just sitting there. Okay, I think we need a hint. And they're like, remember those flowers you were talking about? You're kidding me.
Mhm. It's amazing what you miss.
Oh, we always miss the easy stuff.
Yep. Every time. If there's a clock that's stuck on the wall now, I've gotten to the point where I've missed it so much. I'm like, is there a clock in this room? No. Okay. Let's it's so bad.
For
But-
us, it's the searching. The more rooms we do, the harder searching becomes for some reason. We just can't find anything.
Yes.
But-
So my 15-year-old goes and plays escape rooms with us quite often. He's also kind of has that mind. Both of our boys like to do the escape rooms, but Ben is in particular is really good at that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So that's like his thing. He goes in and he finds the keys and he finds the whatever he needs to find, and he'll just point everything out to us.
Yeah.
And so when he's not with us, sometimes we miss really stupid things.
Yeah. Kids love searching. They love scavenger hunts. So
Yeah.
it makes sense. Do you have a few favorites that you want to shout out to?
Yeah, so I would say my very favorite has to be at 13th Gate and Baton Rouge, Cutthroat Cavern. It's just, I mean, there's so many things that you evaluate when you're saying what a good room is. The 2 I'm going to mention that are my favorites are very different games. Maybe you've played the other one because it's in Florida, but Cutthroat Cavern, have you done that one?
I have.
Yeah. So
Yes.
Cutthroat Cavern, it's more like the set
Set design,
is
yeah.
the set design is so incredible. You just can't even imagine. Like
Mhm.
you literally walk in and you're like, wow, is this really an escape room? Like how
Yeah.
in the world
Mhm.
am I at a Hollywood set?
Right,
Like,
right. I felt like Indiana Jones or Lara
Yeah.
Croft was going to come out at any point. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy amazing.
Mhm.
It's so incredibly amazing. But then on the other hand, the exit, Clearwater Beach, Florida, Servants of Slight. Oh,
Yes. We have both
such
played
a
that.
great room. I love
The
I
best.
love that room. And
Mhm.
there you go, the whole, live person. But
Right.
it, it's also the experience of even just walking in the door. I think
Mhm.
sometimes they do a really good job of what the experience is the second you walk in the door.
Mhm.
That's something that we're not as good at. I mean, we try to be personable, but
Sure.
we don't have that grand entrance of the cool wall and just, doors opening, and it's just really cool.
Nice. Yeah. The thing with Storms of Slide is just the puzzle flow is so good. It's just so good. You do kind of all the puzzles in one room. It's non-linear, but then it kind of funnels into everybody coming together and then going into the next room. And I love that type of puzzle flow
Yeah.
where I don't have to go back to the other room. We're done with that. And
Yeah.
so now you're at the next room and you're doing all the puzzles. And yeah, it was a
Yeah,
lot of
I like it both ways. I
yeah.
do like in Wild West. I like the last puzzle. I think that's really cool because then you've spent all this time seeing these things, but you were like, I wonder what
Can
that's for,
mark
but
'em
then
down.
you forget about it. And then you're like,
Yep.
oh, I know what it's for.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some people who focus so much on the things that they won't use until the very, very end. And you're just like, why don't you think about that later?
Yeah,
They
I
did
guess
have one like that. Because
Did it?
that was my favorite. Without giving away spoilers, there was one
Yeah.
Rowan who is very shy. He is not an outgoing person at all. But we got into this one room and he had to do something. He had to go back and watch something to kind of pay attention and figure out. And then he comes,
True.
and I'm like, I cannot believe Rowan is doing this. Of all the
Right.
3 people that are here, it would have, and we didn't even realize it, but he knew it. It was so funny.
Yeah, no, that's
And
true.
then
I love that.
And then if I was going to say some more local to me places, because there's the really amazing rooms that are all over the country kind of things, but Mine Trap in Montgomery, Illinois, their Mafia heist room is really good. I really liked that one. And I don't think this doesn't really give anything away, but there's an elevator that the door opens and you're in a different place. Like, I don't think it was actually an elevator. I don't really know how that worked, but whoa, that's really cool.
That's the best when you don't know how it works. You're like, what? How did they do this?
And then the other one would be at Escape Factor in Forest Park. And this is like a totally different kind of room too, but the bonus fun time game show challenge. That was so fun. We played it as a family and it just kind of brought back like some of the games from my past, like some nostalgia. And
Right.
I thought that was a really different, but really fun room.
Cool. So Chris, tell me about the company you work for. So you're a manager there, and yeah, just kind of talk about the company.
It's interesting because we have a background with Escapetown Peoria that I don't think anybody else has. So like I said, I got my daughter interested in escape rooms. She started working, well, she didn't start working there immediately, but she found out about this festival that they were going to be opening this escape room. And so on July 5th, 2018, we were one of the first groups that was a paid group to play Wild West Jailbreak. And so we came in and literally the whole wall where you sign your names and everything was empty. Like, it was empty.
Oh, wow.
There was nobody.
That's
and
funny.
We played the game. We still have the picture. It's pretty cool. So that was like our first introduction to Escapetown. But then Jamie got a job there not long after that. And then they opened Storm Grove Mansion. So they had 2 rooms for a little while. Then they opened medical emergency. So they had 3 in that one building. And Mike and Kylie Whittle are the owners. They also have co-owners with his brother and sister-in-law, Kendra and Stephen Whittle. And so they live in St. Louis, but they're just financial partners. So, but Mike and Kylie were the ones running it. And then they hired people along the way to kind of, help out. And Kylie has been a teacher. She actually just stopped teaching. She's a stay-at-home mom now. She has 2 kids. But Mike works full time. So this is not something he does full time. He just has managers that run it. So Jamie started working there as a manager. She was in college at Bradley and studying to be a teacher. And then she was going to start teaching. And so she was going to go. And I was like, so since you're not going to work there anymore, can I work there? And she was, I mean, if you want to. This sounds fun to be a game master. I just wanted to run games. I thought it sounded really fun. So I got a part-time job working as a game master, but I started talking to Mike and Kylie about different marketing ideas, sales ideas, and coming out of COVID, like, how can you transform, where you're at? Because it was, this completely just downward spiral. And then when COVID started to come back, it was very slight, it was just hard to come out of that because people just think about doing things like that. And so I came up with a few ideas of different marketing things we could do, but then it's like it took a long time to come out of it. Some of the big things that I came up with never really came to fruition just because it was too hard. It was just, people just weren't ready for it. So I started small. We started doing some small promotions and stuff. I started working as a game master. Very quickly, they asked me to take on a little more responsibility. Before you knew it, I'm not even sure they asked me, but suddenly I was a manager. I literally don't know if I got asked, but it's just, my husband was an engineer at CAT, and I was a stay-at-home mom pretty much. I've had jobs here and there, but I mean, I've always been doing something because I can't really stay still. But I mean, he was supporting us. It's not like I had to get a job or anything. So I kind of came at it from a different perspective where I just had a passion for this. And I was really interested in the business side of it too, and how to improve things. And so I started handling staffing, and I found that because I have a really good relationship with teenagers, like I have 2 teenagers, I've had 6 children, it's like I felt like I was a pretty good person to deal with that. We have another manager as well, and Jonah was a manager part of that time too, but we all just kind of divided up responsibilities. Like one person was responsible for like making sure that the props weren't breaking, and another person was checking locks, and another person was doing the hiring and the scheduling, and I do payroll and stuff like that. So we just kind of divided it up, and it seemed like it was a pretty good division of things. Right as we were coming out of COVID, I skipped back a little bit, but we decided to expand. And so we went from the 3 rooms that I mentioned previously into another building in the same shopping center because there was not physical space for any more rooms. And we felt like Peoria was big enough to handle more than 3 rooms. And we had ideas, you get all these ideas.
Right.
And so we talked to the company that manages the shopping center, and they were like, well, we have this building over here. Now we have 6 games. So we are expanded to 6 games. It's a wonderful thing, but it is logistically, we had to have double the tools. You can't just have tools in one location. Even if you need a lock cutter, you need it right now. If you need a drill, you have to have a drill right now. So that was part of what I did, was I expanded, like, what do we need in both locations? What do we need? How can we make it the most efficient, but not like wasteful? So it was a process expanding into the second location.
Yeah, I bet.
Wild West room, as I was saying earlier, was my first room ever. I was excited.
Yeah.
Got me addicted, I guess. Do you guys still have it, or has it been changed to something else? You do? Okay,
no, we
Carrie
do.
wants to do it.
And I'm
like, we need to go back.
We keep it because, first of all, it's still booked. It's still one of our highest bookers. I mean, you can't doubt the fact that the 2 original rooms still book. It's like really hard to take them away when they still book. That being said, and it's a really good like introduction room. Before we had Candy Shop, it was this is where you should start. This is the first one you should play, because it was something, not that it was that easy, but more it was easy to give clues on. So it was easy to help people if they hadn't played it before. But yeah, so that is a good one. But that being said, that is one that I have some ideas about for a Revenge of Abernathy or something. I don't know. We're thinking about that. So after we get Bloomington open.
Yes.
You said it's still books out of the 6. So you have a pirate room, candy shop, mystery at Skull Cabin, monkey business, Storm Grove Mansion, and Wild West Jailbreak. Of those, what books the most, would you say?
So I mean, it depends on the season, but overall, and I would have to like look this up to be sure, but I would say consistently. So Pirates is our most recent game. So you're going to get some bookings on that just because they've played all the rest of the games. So Pirates is decently high. Skull Cabin also had a spike, but it's probably not as high as Wild West and Storm Grove.
I
Candy
love
Shop
the puzzles
also
in
has,
Skull Cabin, though. Those
yeah,
puzzles are so good.
yeah, yeah. But Candy Shop also books because we push people toward it, because if they've
Mhm.
never done an escape room, we push them toward it. If they have little kids, we push them toward it. Monkey Business books, Monkey Business is, I'm out of practice with Monkey Business because we had it down with Grinch. It was Grinch for 3 months. But Monkey Businesses are, oh, you have a corporate group of 12, go to Monkey Business.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
there's a little bit of artificial booking there where we put, like when somebody calls, we direct them to rooms. And so Wild West and Candy Shop and Monkey all definitely get that. Like when somebody's looking for what should I play first, that's where they get a little bit of push.
That's it. We did Monkey Business when we were there with Curt and when they were visiting too. And he will not tell you this, but it was definitely his favorite that I was in a different room than him and helping him out on his side, because
That was
Because
such
you
a
were so
nightmare.
good.
It was such a nightmare. It
No.
was him and his daughter, who are the same people, right? They're just one's a male version and one's a female version. And so they're arguing, and I'm with Carrie, and was Rowan
Rowan.
there? Or Rowan,
Yeah, he
and
was
we're
with you.
trying to, like, we need your information so we could get our puzzles done. Neither of them were giving us the information we needed because they couldn't
They
find
got
it.
us out,
arguing,
and then we left.
it was painful. I actually
We
enjoy
know now who has to be separated now.
for
We got
sure,
that
for
down.
sure. I enjoy split start rooms, or
Yeah.
even later if you split. I enjoy the communication aspect of those. So I was looking on Morty. You guys have really great ratings.
We do.
Yeah. So nice.
You know, if you were to look at this is like something that I don't think most escape rooms think about, but a lot of people find us with Google.
Sure.
So we have trained our game masters to ask for reviews. And a lot of people don't ask for those. On about you say, we would love for you to mention me by name. And then it makes it personal. They go, oh, I want to do something for Chris. You know, she did a good job, so I want to mention her. So I think that has helped our reviews as well. But Morty, yeah, it's been very positive.
Is there any incentive if somebody is mentioned in a Google review? Do you have, like, some places will be, oh, we get a couple dollars. Other places, like, we have a board that shows
Yes.
so and so gets.
Yeah,
so
we
many,
have incentives. I will tell you, Mike and Kylie are very, very good to their employees.
Good.
We are always looking for a way to encourage them, to grow them as good people, to, you know, give them ways to take more responsibility, to grow, you know, to make themselves better. But from a compensation standpoint, very good. From, like, if my husband was just saying this to me today, he said, you know, if somebody's working a double shift, say you have 3 people who are working a double shift on a Saturday, we bring in food.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, we don't want you to go without eating, you know, so we bring
Right.
snacks, or we'll bring them lunch, or we'll, you know, especially during the Christmas season, we bring in Olive Garden. You know, it's like
Nice.
Whoa.
we
Are you
try
hiring?
to treat them well. Why? Yes, we are. No. If you want a job, I would hire you.
Well, I will say that it's very difficult to find a good manager. And I've heard from other escape rooms that that is, especially for owners that aren't operators, to find a manager or 2 managers that can run it effectively, that they can trust. It's so difficult. So they are very lucky to have you, obviously. I mean, you kind of mentioned that being, I guess, are you general manager or?
Yeah, we actually have 2 general managers.
Okay.
So we completely split. She was the general manager. Jonah has left because he's doing Total Bloomington now. But Beth Ann and I run it together, and we have totally split responsibilities. So she does more of the scheduling than I do. She does more of the actual stuff in the rooms of making sure things are kept up kept up so that they're not broken and that kind of thing. I'm still the fixer because I have to beg my husband, who's an electrical engineer, to come and help.
Oh, that's nice to have.
But
Yeah.
except that he doesn't work there and he's retired, and I have to like go, honey,
I've got some
he
Olive
has-
Garden breadsticks for you.
That's
Mike usually tries to give him gift cards. So
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, we just try to divide it up so that it's reasonable for both of
Right,
our
right.
schedules. But I think
awesome.
the thing about staff is that I find when you're just putting out an ad, you are probably not going to find the right person. And I just discussed this with another owner who was asking about, how do you have a staff of 20? Like, how do you handle that? And I said, we literally will hire 14-year-olds if I feel like I almost interview it's like I know people. It's like they know me.
Right.
Oh, can my child? I'm like, well, here's the deal. Are you going to be like okay with giving them rides to work? Are you going to be committing to the schedule that we're up to here? Like, are you going to, you're not going to, because it's really about, are the parents going to support the kid in working as much as we want them to work? And so a lot of the people who we hire are people that I know their parents, or it's a friend of a friend. So they're coming with recommendation, and we have a referral bonus. So if somebody recommends somebody and they stay for let's see, 2 months and 3 months, the person who recommended them gets a bonus. So we have a retention bonus. And so I think that, like, from the manager standpoint, yeah, it's really hard because usually it's a part-time job. It's not always a full-time job. And there's a lot of people, I mean, if you get somebody in my situation, I don't have to have a full-time job. So I'm honestly in a great spot for that.
It's
the
ideal
other manager,
for you.
Yeah, the other manager also lives, she's still at home, but it's like she has the ability to do that. And so it works out for her. The head game master that we just promoted is also living with parents. We promote young. Jonah
Nice.
was a manager in high school. He's a senior in high school. He's getting ready to graduate. And now he's going to go open an escape room in Bloomington.
Right. Is there, do the staff get a bonus for staying off their cell phones? Because that's always been an issue.
I'm not gonna say our game masters don't use their cell phones, because we don't really care. Like, if they get a text from somebody, we don't care if they respond. But we have cameras. They know we can watch them. And if I see somebody on their phone, I just text them, say, hey, you're on your phone a lot. and then they don't do it. It's like, I just remind them that, but part of it is that relationship. It's like, I have a relationship with people. Last night we had a game at 8:15, a monkey business book, and one of the people who was supposed to work had a migraine, had to go home. And the manager who was covering the phone had just had a root canal. And so she was trying to do this after just having a root canal. And I'm like, okay, we have other people. Like, I will just call. And so I called one of our really good employees. I said, hey, would you be willing to run just this one game? She's like, sure, no problem. It's like, we have a relationship with people. So
nice.
I think, you can't just be an employer anymore. You have to have a relationship.
Yeah.
Cool.
But that also enables us to develop these people and help them be good people.
Yeah.
Know how to be nice to people. And
there's some training.
From the second they walk in the door, we want them to feel welcome. And we're also feeling them out on, like, what their knowledge is of escape rooms. But I want them to stand up when somebody comes in the building. Stand up, welcome, how are you? How's your day going? And I don't think kids these days know how to do that naturally. So
no. At camp, we hire young. I mean, we get a lot of the young ones too. And it is, I like it though, because it is a lot of that, like, they're not, I don't know, like, they're not already trained wrong. I feel like I can teach them, like, hey, here's how we're respectful. Here's how we respond to guests and things like that. And it's good, but
it's the whole formative years. They're formative years,
How many employees do you have? Do you know how many is there?
We're right around 20.
Oh my goodness.
Is that good, bad? Do you like that?
No, that's about where we need to be. We have some employees who work 5 hours in 2 weeks, and we have other employees who work 25 in 2 weeks. You know, we are an on-call business, so we do not schedule people. So the way it works is we ask them, when are you available? What days are you available? But they have minimums. So you have to give us at least 2 Saturday nights and 2 Friday nights and 1 Sunday and 1 Saturday morning, and they give them to us a month in advance. So then we put those all on a schedule, and we say, okay, we don't need 14 people on the 12th. And so we whittle that down a little bit and try to like shuffle them around so that we're balanced. And then when people know that they're on call, they know that on Saturday night, I could be called for a game between 5 and our latest game is 10. Okay. So that's the second shift. So between those hours, we have to give them 90 minutes notice unless they're already in the building. So they're not paid unless they get called in. So we have at least 6 people on our call list because we have 6 games. That's all it takes is 6 people if we have 6 games running at the same time. But often we'll have 8 people because somebody comes in, runs a 5:30 game, they leave, then they go home, and then somebody books an 8 o'clock game. You don't want to call that person in after they were home for half an hour. So then we just call in a fresh person. So we have, throughout a weekend, we probably have a unique 12 to 15 people working on a weekend. Then we are open every day, 7 days a week. So then they also commit to 1 evening a week, and we have a day shift. So now the day shift is mostly the managers. We mostly cover the day shift, and we get day games. We do. In fact, Friday we have 6 at the same time at 1 o'clock. Oh, wow. So we have a group coming in. Wow. We do corporate events, and they're going to have lunch in a different building, and then come over and play the games all at the same time. Which that's kind of hard for us because the kids are a lot of the kids are still in school, but 20 is about the right amount, because if you have 1 football player and 1 softball player and, oh, I'm in this season, so I can't really work. It's like, it just kind of balances out so that we try not to hire too many band students, football players, softball players, all ones that are out all at the same time. Yeah. And then it's pretty balanced.
So if it's like a Monday, is somebody
So
in
Mondays
there?
are unique. Mondays are unique.
Okay.
Mondays, no other escape room in Peoria is open. So everybody's closed on Monday. So Mondays for us are busy.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh.
But we're not there. No, I don't go into the office unless there's a game.
So there's no walk-ins necessarily. You can't walk in.
Only on the weekend. If somebody happens to find us there and we have a game master who can do it, we'll take a walk-in.
Yeah.
But generally, no.
Gotcha.
Generally, it's and we'll book things less than 90 minutes if we have people. Like if somebody's running a Wild West and they want to book the next one, yeah, we'll book that. You can play it in 20 minutes when this game is done.
Right.
So yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that you, like, the staff go and do other rooms. Is that a kind of a normal thing? And do you use it like as a training kind of thing as well? So like afterwards you'll talk about it and debrief?
Yeah, so I can think of a couple times that we have done that, as like we've invited all the staff to come, anybody who wants to come. Most often when we do that, it's a social thing, but it's also to give them a chance. Some of these kids have not played escape rooms.
Sure.
They only just run them. So we want to give them a chance to experience it so that they have the empathy of what it's like for other people playing them. So we have done that a couple times, but the majority of what we do is when I say staff, it's like managers or owners going and scouting out themes or scouting out technology, or we want to play escape rooms. Like the other day we went to Iowa City and played, and we talked to them after and asked them about props and talked to them about staffing. They were asking us about staffing because for some reason a lot of people ask us about staffing. Yeah. They're like, how do you do that 7 days a week all day?
Yeah, that's I mean, the more games that a game master plays, the better game master I feel they become.
Yes.
And so you said the first game was at a different place. You don't have each of your staff play your 6 games to kind of learn them?
Not always. It depends on how busy we are. So, like if we have a Christmas room that's going to open on a dime, okay, like we need to have all these people trained right now. That's how we do it. We say, okay, we have staff, we have these 2 games set up, and you can play it these 2 times. And then they play it as a group, then they help reset it. And then the next group comes in, they play it as a group, they help reset it. So they get one training by playing it, they get a training on resetting it, and then some of those people stay for the next game and watch it being run so that they can see it from the game master perspective. And by the time you're done, the more experienced people can run it. You don't have any more training than that. The ones who need more training, obviously we train. Usually people get three trainings on each game. So they're with somebody for three sessions.
Gotcha.
So you would go Wild West, the first one, you watch the game master run it. The second time you sit at the computer and you type the hints and the person's watching you. The third time it's on your own, but there's still somebody there.
Yeah.
But they don't always play the games. They don't always. It just depends on if we have time.
Gotcha. I noticed that you had a Christmas room you did in Wild West. So did you just decorate the Wild West room? Were they the same puzzle? Like if you had already played it, could you still do the Christmas?
Yep. So this was my baby. It was not just the Wild West room. It was Wild West and Monkey. So I had come to Mike and said, I think, because it's amazing. You probably know this. Have you done Christmas rooms? From okay.
Yep.
I mean, have you owned a Christmas room?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a monetarily a very important thing to do in your business.
It is.
So I said, well, if one is good, why don't we do more than one? Give people options. Why don't we do 3? Let's do them in our oldest rooms. Let's do them in Wild West, Storm Grove, and Monkey Business. For a while there, that was the plan. And then Mike started getting cold feet. He was like, oh, I don't know about 3 at the same time. And I said, I'm fine cutting back to 2, but here's what I'm going to do. Because this is another thing that's been a pet peeve of mine. You can't shut down a room for weeks to get it flipped to, or months to get it flipped to a new room, because then you have no income off that room. So I said, I want to do this in a way that the room will be down for 2 days to set it up. And literally it will not miss a day when we take it back to the old room. So Wild West was Wild West to a day. We took it down on a Tuesday and it was back running by Friday. We trained on Thursday. And then when we brought it back, we painted the entire room, because I said, I'm not putting Wild West back in there with it looking like crap. So we painted the entire room for like 6 hours, and then we put it all back together, and then it was totally running the next day. So that took 1 day. Grinch was the same way setting it up, but when it came back down, I went in first thing in the morning and it was available by the evening.
Holy cow.
And we painted
you
the
don't mess
entire
around.
room. It was more about just being really, really prepared. We had all the props ready. So the way that we did Wild West and Monkey was, it's the same physical space. Even some of the same props, but none of the puzzles were the same. Not any. None of the puzzles. Like in Wild West, it's a poker theme. So you're playing Santa's playing poker with the dog in Wild West, and they bet the reindeer, and so you're helping Santa win his reindeer back. Okay, because if he loses, the reindeer are going to end up on the bar, over the bar.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And so it was kind of like you know how you watch movies sometimes and you think they're for kids, but they're really more for adults. The theming, the jokes and stuff behind it were more adult, but the kids loved it because it's Santa, so.
Right.
But here's an example. So in the Monkey Business room, it became Grinch. We had a pegboard, like a big, huge pegboard. And it was a bunch of animals in the Monkey Business game. And you have to put flags on it. So I took that board and I just turned it over and I made it into a word search.
Okay.
So when it had to switch back, you literally just take the thing off the wall and turn it over.
Right.
And there was another thing over a sign, and I just turned it over and I did it. We had animals on the wall and we decorated them. We put up lights, and it was still a zoo. So it's not like we took it out of the zoo. It's still a zoo.
Yeah.
It's just we put the Grinch in the zoo. We made it tie into the original theme. So it made it so that we could have a different room with different puzzles for people so they could have a different game for Christmas. And then we just switched it back.
Right. Love that. You guys also have lobby games. Do people play those? Are you glad you have them? Is it worth having them?
It's really good to have because it's a good in between. So if a group gets there half an hour early and you still have a game running, you can say, oh, well, you can fill out this waiver, but you're going to be a little bit. If you want to play one of the games, you're welcome to do that. So it's good because they have something to do. It's bad because it makes noise. So you do have the noise of the it's like the what do you call that? Connect 4 things falling in and dumping them out, and it's a little noisy, but I think it's worth it. I missed it in the other building.
Do you wish you had better soundproofing in the rooms?
It probably would help.
Sure.
Probably would help. We're a lot better than some rooms. We are very cooperative with other rooms in Peoria. We do not feel like we're competition at all, but it's very difficult to play rooms where the wall doesn't go all the way to the ceiling.
Right.
In my opinion, I think that's very difficult.
I agree.
So.
I agree.
There's 3 different escape rooms in Peoria, which is, I don't know. In Orlando, that's nothing, Curt, but I feel like Peoria doesn't seem big enough to have 3. Have you guys found, like, is there a way you've made yourselves unique or to help out with the 3 different competitions?
Well, there's only 2 now.
Oh,
the one downtown stopped doing escape rooms. So
that is a shame.
Yeah, we have very strong feelings about that.
Curt's most interesting review is on that.
We honestly don't feel like we compete with one another. We try to work hand in hand because once somebody's done all our rooms, what are we supposed to do?
Exactly.
We of course, and they have. I mean, the other place has great rooms. They do.
Yeah.
They do a good job. But from what I hear, our staff is like second to none. I feel like everybody is like, oh, your customer service is so amazing, and so that's that training thing. It's like really important. Another thing that's unique about us is we try to make sure that people finish their game because it's no fun if you don't finish. So whatever it takes, we try to make that happen. Whether we give them extra time or whether we use time management. We know where they're supposed to be at certain points. So we have checkpoints in our games. If the person's not there, we try to help, with whatever we need to do.
Right.
And we create our own games, which the other place that's still open, Escape 60s, does create their own games, but I know that the one downtown did not. They purchased them, and that was part of the problem. So I think we are unique. I think people do come back. They wait for our new games. Sometimes I think our biggest thing is that people don't know, and so that's our fault if we don't advertise well enough that people know. I think it's really important to say, because a lot of escape rooms you go to, and we're talking about the difference between us and others. When you walk into the escape room, they just say, okay, you're here for this game, and all right, okay, let's go to the room, and that's it. They don't know anything about you. They don't know anything. We're very intentional about asking questions. So welcome. Have you played an escape room before? Where did you play? Oh, you played there. How did you do? Was it easy? Was it hard? Have you been to Escapetown before? What games have you played? Did you get out? How are you feeling about it today? Are you excited about it? Are you scared? I try to get like where they're at. And then we offer different modes of play. So we try to ask those questions so that we have a better understanding of how we can help people. And sometimes we don't even offer them different modes of play. We'll just assume that they are friendly mode. And we will offer them whatever it takes. Other people, they come in with an attitude. And I'm not saying this in a bad way, but, oh no, we don't need any help. We don't want any clues.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I've played 120 and I always ask for clues.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
they'll just be like, oh, okay. And so I think that because we do that, it helps with the rapport.
How do you change the modes of play? What does that mean?
So we have different modes. We'll say competitive means you get 3 clues.
Okay.
We're not going to give you any hints or any nudges or anything unless you ask for it. It basically takes us out of the equation. So the next option is friendly mode. Friendly mode means I can give you a hint if I feel like you need it. I can give you a nudge, which we call a nudge something that's not a hint, it's just pointing you in the right direction. And we have sheets made up of all of these. So we have ideas so that if people don't have their own hints, here it is on a piece of paper, so that the game masters can have it in front of them. And then there's hybrid. Hybrid means I'm going to play competitively for the first 30 minutes, but after the first 30 minutes, if you think I need help, please help me. Okay. I don't love that mode either, because then you've wasted the entire first half of the game if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I prefer having the control as the game master to decide whether you need help or not.
Yeah.
Okay, so the player mode is all game master, how much they're interacting.
Yes.
So it's not necessarily, it's not, puzzles don't change.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay. Could you share maybe one of the most memorable experiences you've had with a group?
I mean, it's really difficult not to say an engagement. We just had one where the guy was so sweet. He came in the day before and brought me rose petals and a big sign, and we did it in Wild West, and I had it positioned so that you couldn't see the sign through the thing and looking into the third room. And it was like all positioned, and I had a camera in there. I had the door unlocked so that I could go in and turn the camera on. And it was just so sweet. It was very, very sweet. Another one I would say is there was a girl who was really scared of Storm Grove. Really scared. She just thought it was going to be horrible. And she went into the first room and she started crying. And this is my
first
interpersonal
room.
skills. I know. She was, well, they knocked on the door and scared her. And so I pulled her out and I said, you can sit with me. She was like in grade school. I said, you can sit with me and we can watch them. We'll watch them on the screen. And so she sat in a chair next to me and watched. And by the time they got into the second room, I walked into the first room with her and kind of let her watch by me. And by the time they got into the third room, she went back with them. And it's like, I love that.
Nice.
Just, working with people. And that makes it really memorable when you can have an experience where you bond with somebody like that. That's kind of cool.
Right. That is cool.
Have you noticed, like, when players become frustrated or they're stuck on a puzzle, anything like you've seen that really works well, or maybe something you'd suggest to other game masters to do?
Yeah. The biggest thing is that pre-monologue that you do before they go in, because I think that prepares them. But then you just have to monitor the time and give nudges appropriately so it doesn't all come down to the last 5 minutes, so that they're, but we will also even go into the room. We've run rooms from in the room, helping them, like literally walking through the game with them. So we will do whatever it takes, whatever they need.
Well, off of that, if you're putting your game master hat on, what's your favorite part of being a game master?
I love that it's different every time. That game is the same game. I mean, we pride ourselves in everybody has the same experience, right? We want the game to be exactly the same every time. But still, people solve things in different orders. Something weird will happen. And so it's just being, like kind of on your game and paying attention. And I like giving witty clues and, kind of laughing with people as they go, oh, well, that was silly. And I'll go, yeah, it was, or, just joke with people. I love that. I love that interaction.
It feels like you're a bit of a voyeur too, right? You're like,
yeah.
Like to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes really entertaining.
It is. Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
Are there any challenges you think game masters, maybe that the normal player doesn't quite understand, that you would have these challenges as a game master?
Well, it's definitely difficult to make somebody do something that you're trying to make them do something with their own hands that you're telling them with words. That's not easy. That's one of the reasons that we go ahead and give them clue sheets, because sometimes it's hard to come up with something on the fly. It's just not natural. But it's not particularly easy dealing with people who get really frustrated. And that's one of the things about playing an escape room as a game master. It's really important to understand that frustration, because I've definitely been there where you're just like, I don't know. I already asked for a clue, but that clue doesn't make sense.
Right.
Or something like that. I hate that. It's like, I don't know what that clue means. So from a game master standpoint, it's sometimes really frustrating when I'm trying, it's like I'm trying to give you the right clue, but or you maybe didn't see them do something and then they get frustrated with you that you give a clue for something they've already done. That's also hard.
Yeah.
And the other thing I don't think people think about, like when they're playing the games, is the reset. When people reset, like when people are playing the game and they put everything over in a corner, they just shove everything over in a corner and all the keys are together and everything is just mixed up. You're like, you go in as a game master and you're like, like I said, digging in the corner for keys. It's like,
that's that Mark Roper YouTube video
suggestion.
Yeah, how to play an escape room. And when you're done with something, bring it all in the center so you don't need that anymore. And it's like, please don't. Just leave it with the lock. Leave the key there. Leave the lock on.
We always suggest leaving it open and hanging the lock on it. So we actually do that in our introductions. We say just hang the lock on the box.
Right.
And so it works pretty good, but I do it too. I try to get stuff out of the way because I don't want to have to think about papers I've already dealt with, or maybe somebody else already solved it. We split up into groups. So maybe somebody went off on some tangent and did all this stuff that I don't know about. Well, that's fine, except I might try to solve it again. Like if I don't know.
True. I find myself helping reset as I play a game.
I do too.
Yeah.
I'll start putting things back, like, that went over here and this goes over here. And then I'll have people that will relock things. I'm like, please don't, because now I gotta open it.
Yeah, and then they relock and it's like the wrong lock on the wrong box and you don't know what combination is. And you're like, okay,
I need to put two things in there that you didn't put back. And
yeah, that's definitely something you don't think about.
Right.
Yeah. How can people learn more about Escapetown? Are you guys on social media?
Yep.
Stuff like that?
We have a website, escapetownpeoria.com. So you can look there and see all of our games. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Our TikTok is kind of fun. So we have some fun stuff on there. We try to do some like game masters doing fun stuff. So you can find us there.
I will be getting on your TikTok.
Right.
TikToker.
We're not very good at doing it very often, but our TikToks are kind of fun.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much. This is Curt and Chris. Thanks for tuning into Mystery Soup, the Escape Room Podcast. Until next time, may your clues be clear and your escapes be triumphant. Keep puzzling, my friends.
See ya.
Mystery Soup. Mystery Soup. Mystery Soup.